So if all questions will be muted, you're in listen only mode. One recommendation is to click on the expand button so you have full screen. And if you have issues with audio, please check your volume on your computer. Either turn it up or turn it down, because we do have some areas that have background noise that could be louder or softer. So you'll have to control the audio of this webinar. Again, those people who want to chat or answering questions, find your chat bubble at the bottom of the screen, and you'll be able to use that to talk to the panelists and other attendees. So please choose the all panelists and attendees in the drop down for this. We will be having this starting poll of how would you describe your role. If you'd like to respond to this poll now, then we'll get some answers here, who you are. We see where you're from, which is pretty much all over the world, which is great to have you joining us today for this gamification webinar. We'll wait for about 50–60% of the people coming in. We've got a lot of people, instructional designers, directors of learning, media developers, great people. So today's webinar is going to be presented by Lisa Stortz. Lisa is one of our strategic relationship managers, and Scott Kohlauer. Scott is our co-founder and solutions architect. Lisa also offers office hours where you can call her between 2 and 4 on Thursdays, 2 and 4 Central Time, or feel free to email her at any time or give her a phone call. That's it for me, Lisa. Take it away.
Great, thanks so much, Rich, and thanks everyone for joining us today for Game On. It's going to be a fun, fast, furious webinar, as Scott's and mine usually are. We teed up about 65 examples. We've narrowed it down to 14, so we're going to whip through those. You're going to see a lot of things today. We're going to very quickly be touching on them from the game point of view. Always reach out if you want to see any more further to better understand the content or the performance outcomes or what it might be. We love chatting and sharing, so you can connect with me or Rich, and then we'll get you in touch with all of our other colleagues as well. So thank you so much. One of the main reasons we're doing this webinar is we were recently voted a top 20 gamification company. Yay, thanks. We're very proud of that. That's exciting. It didn't happen overnight, obviously. We've been a top 20 custom content development provider for a number of years, and then so we were great to add on the gamification piece to it. And then we were also voted recently a top 20 content blended solutions. So next month we'll be doing a blended solutions webinar, right, Scott? You up for that?
That's right, absolutely.
Awesome. Perfect. So today we've got a lot to cover, but the learning never stops. We're going to go through a lot of things right now. As Rich mentioned, I have office hours, and then on our website we have all kinds of blogs on gamification. We have white papers. We have all kinds of pieces that may help you. A big part of that is our proprietary tag model, which delineates kind of a line to Bloom's taxonomy about gamification at the different elements. So we encourage you to check those out. We'll be sending the recordings out, and also check out our white papers. You're hearing a lot of gamification, gameplay, game everything, game on, game mechanics in learning. Let's go to the chat window. Why do you think gaming is so prevalent all of a sudden in learning? And for those of us who've been at it for years, maybe not so recently, but why do you think gaming is so important in learning right now? If we can just go to the chat window while Scott tees up all the demos. We'd love to hear why gaming. So we're seeing things, Scott, like it's fun, millennials, retain information, interactivity, engaging, young learners, ups the fun, students, wow, a lot of good rewarding, proven effective, fabulous. And those are all great, and you'll see some examples of that now. So without further ado, Scott, let's dive into some demos.
All right. Again, thanks everyone. We're going to, as Lisa said, we're going to be going through lots of different examples and just pointing out some different gaming elements that apply. We've got, again, that taxonomy that we use. So We're going to start out with this game that was created for Denny's, and it was to help fry cooks with strategy around cooking food. And we're going to have some participation in this, so we're going to ask you to shout out some of the answers. I'm going to just give you a little bit of information about what's happening here. The learner is getting a ticket. This is what we call a contextual game because it's mimicking the actual work process, workflow of an individual. In this case, it's a cook. So you get a ticket. It's got scrambled eggs, sausage, bacon, hash browns, white toast. And the strategy part of it is down on the bottom, you've got your cooking surfaces, and you have to decide where the food goes and in what order it goes to have it come out hot in under 10 minutes. So what I'm going to do is start the game, and as we go through this, I want you to just type in the chat window, where do you want these things to go and in what order? So
let us know. Do you want the hash browns in first? Do you want the bacon cooking? Do you want the sausage on? And let us know where it goes. So tell us what to put in first. You tell us, Rich, you tell us what to put in first. Sausage. Okay, where do you want the sausage cooked? Shout out, sausage, bacon, sausage, hash browns in the flat grill. This kind of sounds like a real short order Denny's meat on the flat grill.
So, so there's a meat flat grill. So we're going to put the bacon on the meat flat grill and not the other flat grill.
Yep, okay. Hash browns to the flat grill.
All right.
Hash browns to the flat grill. Okay, good. Somebody said, oh, Damien's starving now. Flat grill for the hash browns. Good. Hash browns are covered. All right, what are we going to do with those eggs or the toast? Is there sound in the game? There's not sound in this game. Eggs go to the grill. Let's put the eggs up. Okay, grill, perfect. And then toast, let's try the toast on the flat grill. Nope, toast doesn't go on the flat grill. Oh, toast in the toaster perhaps? Oops, Scotty, I think your eggs may be done.
Okay.
How do you set the order? That's what, yep, you're going to let us know how to set the order. We'll give you, ooh, toast in the fryer. That would have been good, actually. All right, everybody else, everything's cooking. Let's see, our timer's kind of counting down. Let's see. Denny's, we should mention their whole learning objectives are performance outcomes were hot food hot, cold food cold. All off. They want all off the grill, and we are out of time. So let's see how we did, everyone.
So what happens is, based on how you put this on, if you're not paying attention, you leave things on longer, things can burn. If you don't get things on and something is like a toast gets done first, you put it on the plate, it could get cold. So the game mechanics and what we're judging against are the actual things that the cooks get judged against. So over here, we actually did not get our quality or our time complete, so we lost on both those. We just barely got under 10 minutes. And here are our food items. So our eggs and our hash browns were cold because those were done too early, but everything else was good.
And there is that.
There is that. So some of the elements are, again, this is contextual learning, contextual gaming. You can see across the top there are stars, these diamonds that you win for getting these done correctly. And there's leveling. Once you get 1 star, so you're going to get another ticket with only a few items, and you have to do the same thing. But as you start to fill in these stars, you're going to get 2 tickets and 3 tickets and 4 tickets, and you've got a very, very complex strategy of completion. So just an example of how this contextual game might play out in a learning example for the cooks.
And Matt put out a great question on the chat window. Is this a game or a simulation? We consider it a game, obviously, with the leveling up and the point structure, et cetera. But let's go to the chat window, and you just tell us if you'd consider it a game or a simulation.
Yeah, you know, gaming is a very, there's lots of different things to gaming. Some things have gaming elements. When you're doing learning, we're going to show just one interaction that has gaming elements in it. So games can mean a lot of different things. The next one we're going to be showing you is a different, this is more of a non-contextual game where we're using a game board and some different elements of gaming such as your wealth and happiness meters as you play through and go through this type of content. So we're using some animation to move our token across the board, and once we get there, we're going to play. So we're going to get some different types of scenario-based questions that are thought-provoking questions. This game is for AARP. It's a short game to help people understand different components as they get older and there's changes in their life, what things need to happen. Here is some workforce questions, and once we select these, we're going to get some information about proper usage and if that's good or bad. And when we come back, you're going to see the happiness meter move up, and we continue to play. So you can see that these are both, in our world, these are both games. Some games are simulations, some are not. Some games just have the elements of game, the visual, the movement, the meters, scoring, things like that. So,
but that was an example of a non-contextual game, right?
Yep, that was a non-contextual game, exactly. Here's another example of a non-contextual game, but it's couched in this this environment. So I'm going to just play this. So we've got this gameplay that's called the hot seat game. And we've got some controls that talk about the gameplay and what you need to do. The goal here, so games need to have goals. In the first one, it was getting the food done correctly. In this game, it's moving your thermometer down in the organization. This has to do with some sexual harassment types of questions and application for managers. So we're going to start the game. And we get some different situations that you need to deal with, and one of the areas of activity is you need to rate this. Is this a low situation, a medium situation, or this is super high, I need to take care of it right away? And so what we'll do is I'm going to say medium, and then I'm going to select, and you then see how an expert might rate that, and then you get some feedback on why that's important. Games are great. If you just say yes or no and move on, the learners don't get that extra bit of information of why that they were correct. They might have guessed and got it correct. So we always want to make sure we're teaching them as they're playing the game and not just giving them yes or no, move on types of feedback.
So just another good example of a non-contextual, right? It's
Yep.
more in a game show format, et cetera. And we probably noted earlier, but we're not going to go at all into the content of these. We're just hitting the game elements.
Yeah. So this one, again, is in that it's a different type of question, so the game might have different variations in that setting. This one, again, you get a situation, and you're moving the different options, so of what you could do based on this situation, and then you have to select it. So some subtleties around design here. We're not showing all of the answers at the same time so they can do a quick compare. We're showing them individually so they have to read them and then make that selection. And so if you get it right, in this case, we're going to give you some feedback, and then potentially it might give you a secondary question to help you understand if you've got these correct. And again, we've got audio, animation, things like that that allow you to select and feel like you're in a gameplay situation.
And it sounds like from the audience, a lot of people are doing a mix of contextual and non-contextual games. So
yeah, absolutely.
Maybe,
Yep.
Non-contextual, like Jeopardy, et cetera, for more awareness, and maybe contextual for more simulation, scenario-based.
Very good.
Cool. So that was kind of a distinction between, those were non-contextual examples.
So this one was done for teaching more of a procedure, if you will, for bus drivers and railroad safety. So we've already given them some information about all the different components that they need to know how to do this. So you're coming up to a railroad crossing, and there's lots of different things as a bus driver you need to do. We're going to give them a fairly easy one. This has got some leveling in it, where we need to see if they can understand the mechanics of of what to do when they get to a railroad crossing. All right, so there are different things here. We can look and see, look left or right. We can open up the door. That might be something important. Turn on your hazards, and we'll have to close the door and proceed, and we'll see how well we did following the procedure of railroad crossing standards.
Well, you didn't get hit by a train.
I didn't get hit by a train, so that was good.
You have successfully completed your first crossing.
So we get a driver's report
click continue to advance to the next crossing.
on some of the things we did and some of the things we didn't do. So we didn't do anything catastrophic, but we really want to make sure that they've done all these things once they get through these different levels. So we're going to go to another level, which has got a few more things going on that you have to think about as a bus driver. So here we've got some music going. You can change the channel. You've got the kids making some noise. You can start to slow down if you want to. We can use the intercom to quiet the kids. We'll turn off the power, and I'm going to slow down. And if I'm not paying attention, things will happen, and could get hit by a train, or I could do it properly. I'm going to just go now. So there are different things that can happen.
This crossing. When you're finished reviewing your score, click continue to complete the route.
There could be catastrophic situations that you're not doing properly, and it stops and it shows you, you have to start over because you did nothing right and you got hit by a train. So again, this gameplay, this is again more contextual in nature and allows you to practice those skills and remember the process.
And this was a double leveling up. You probably have heard the term leveling up as one of the game mechanics, but you have people go through something, they get a little comfortable with it, then you can take them up to the next level where you don't frustrate them, but they're building off a base. So this had 3 different trips, each with 3 different crossings, and each at increasing levels of difficulty. So let us go to the chat window too. Let us know what game mechanics you're using. Are you using leveling up, putting the learner at risk, timers, badges, whatever it might be? I'll be monitoring the back channel.
All right. This next example is, again, some contextual components. Now, one of the things we want to make sure is just because it looks like a simulation doesn't mean that it's not a game or vice versa. A lot of simulations are actually games because you're given a task to do, and you either complete that task or you don't, and if you don't, you're going to get feedback that helps you understand why, and you have to go back and start it over again and complete the task. Just like many of the games out there today that kids are playing, they're task-based. We need to add some of those learning elements into it as well to help understand why or why not. We don't want to just give them free gameplay and not help them understand why they're not doing things properly. So in this one, this is for AutoNation, and it's a simulation process of different activities that a salesperson might need to do. The goal of this is this car meter. So your goal is to sell 4 cars today. You've got a certain amount of time to do that in, so you can't take endless amounts of time. There are things you need to do to understand and get daily information to properly sell these automobiles. So we've given you some information. These are all areas you can go to. You can go to the used car lot and walk it to see what cars are out there. You can walk the lot or talk with coworkers. I'm going to walk the lot. And as I do this, I've populated my memory with different cars that are out there. And here we get a coach that comes up and helps us understand was that a good decision or not. And again, those are those learning elements that play out. I might walk the trade-in lot to see what new cars are coming in because that's important, and my memory is getting full here as well. At different times, based on what I've done, things will pop up. So you're making your rounds and you're approached by a customer. So I could have done 2 or 3 things if I did them quickly, but this popped up, and now I have to answer somebody's question about a particular car. Do I know if it's there? I can go back to my memory and see if it's there, and then make an appropriate response to this person. And he says, okay, maybe I'll just come back tomorrow, and I actually lost out on selling a car. So I'm not going to be able to complete all my 4 cars. But different things happen. I go to the sales office, I go to my desk, somebody calls, I have to respond, and I didn't talk to my sales manager to see if there were any specials going on today. So all these things play into this gamification of a simulation to get somebody to make these meters move and do it within a time. So timing and meters are a big component.
And very much performance-based, like day in the life, right? It's what they really do on their job. So not a lot of bells and whistles, not a lot of gimmicks, but definitely if this was your day-to-day job, you would enjoy it. It's real life performance to your outcomes.
Yep.
So feel free to tell us any comments on that too. Sandra says, wow, what tool was this built in? This was originally built in Flash and then rebuilt in HTML5.
Yep.
We're going to show you a storyline example later, though, as well.
Yeah, here's again, different situations. Here you're actually sitting down talking to a customer, and you have to decide things like, I'm ready to ask for a sale, what my customer satisfaction meter might be. I can bring up documents and show the customer documents. So again, different ways that these games and gaming elements can play into this contextual learning. And this is really, designed to move the meter and be performance changing for those organizations. AutoNation had a significant increase in sales after the salespeople went through these learning elements. This one is this one's for AT&T on customer service, understanding when somebody calls in.
We should warn you, it has a lot of ancillary sound effects, so if you think someone's drilling in your office, they're not. It's part of this game.
So we can pick different people that we need to deal with. Here is a call in from somebody who's at Pink Plumbing. She has a question about her bill, and you can see over here on the left there's this meter, this happiness meter. There's a score that you're getting. You can decide to do different things, ask some questions, go to a system. You can talk to your coach. So I'm going to ask some questions, and we're going to see what kind of a question might we ask first. Do you have a copy of your bill? What are the charges for if I did this? Then my happiness meter goes down, I get a negative score, and she gives me an answer and I can move on. Let's see. So if you go down too far, this customer is going to actually hang up on you, and you're going to have to start. So as we're looking at these things, if somebody's going really bad, we can stop the system and say, here's some more things you need to think about. You can ask your coach for additional information to help you guide you through this simulation. We can then go into our systems and select the systems where you might be able to find the information that you're looking for, and we can start to gain back points and happiness based on what we're doing. So again, here we're putting them into this world. We've got some animations. We've got game noises, game components. If for some reason the learner really wants to pay attention, they can turn the audio on and off. But again, we just want to show you different ways of which these games might manifest themselves with different types of content and making it fun and interesting for the learner. Here, the ultimate goal is to select the reason that this person is calling so you can help them properly. But again, if you say that and you read through these and you're like, yeah, you know what, I'm really not sure yet, I need to go back, we can move them back into the gameplay and they can get some more information to make that decision.
Perfect.
Okay.
As he's teeing up the next one, Bobby, thank you for reaching out. Yes, Bobby's asking do we target mobile? Yes, 99.9% I'd say of what we're designing and developing for our clients right now is mobile ready first. That being said, if the design is going to lose any of its impact by being done on a phone versus a tablet, we will just point out the changes on that. You know, you don't want to be on your phone and scrolling for days if there's something that needs that screen. To the next one.
All right. This one was done for...
I think we're still hearing AT&T.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm still hearing drilling.
We'll close that down. Okay. So this again was done for the police officers training in California, and one of this content was on gangs and gang-related information. As a beat cop, you need to be able to identify situations, write them down, log them, and keep track of gang activity. And so this game is you actually going through, driving through the city. Some of the gaming elements are if you miss things, you have 3 strikes, so you have to be careful that you find everything. If you get 3 strikes, you have to stop, and you're taken to the debriefing room, given some information, and then you come back and try to complete that particular component. So when you see stuff, you can decide, I want to investigate it, and select it, and you might say, you know what, there's really nothing here, so I think I'm done. I'm going to keep moving, and we continue along our path. And so, again, contextual in nature, we can pause and investigate, and we can start to, select different things that you see that might be considered gang-related activities. Some people talking, 14 is a gang-related number. And once you're done identifying, you continue on with your patrol. And all these things are actually written down in your case file, and then afterwards you move to the debriefing room where that is all discussed with other officers. Now, in this one, when we find something, we see this, we're going to select it. And there might be some additional types of questions. So here you've identified something, but do you really know what that means? And so a secondary question might come up, and we use this often in instructional design and in gaming design, where we want them we want to know that they have a deeper understanding of what's happening, right? If they clicked on it and got it right, that's great, but do we know what this is actually saying? So they've learned about some symbols, so we have to then identify who is disrespecting who based on this particular tag that they've seen. So these multiple level questions are really good when in these simulations, when you want to get to a deeper understanding and deeper knowledge of, does that learner really understand what they're doing, or are they guessing and getting it right? Okay?
Why don't we go to a group participation one? Should we go to Manhattan?
We can do that.
So we're going to go to another one where we need everyone to participate. So focus in. We're going to have you, Manhattan, this was done for, oftentimes when you do employee onboarding, everybody, you don't really understand what your company does. You could be working for them for 2 years and not really be able to explain what the company does. So this was designed for all new employees to really help them better understand. It's something that's fun they could take home to their friends and family and say, hey, here's what we do all day. We design software to figure out how to get item from point A to point B. That's what their job is. So you're going to be helping us do that. And we can start over as many times as we need with this, but what we're going to be doing is we're going to be getting a series of items across the top. It's going to be anything from a cow to a pallet of water to a steam coal,
an engine,
and you're going to get a sense of urgency and different things that Scott's going to point out, and you guys are going to shout out in the chat window what you'd like us to, how you would like us to get it there.
Yeah, so this is for categorization, understanding cause and effect. So as this comes up, you're going to see these different areas on the top. It's 24 pallets of water. It's going from Atlanta to Miami, and you can visually see what that looks like on the map. We've got a decent amount of volume. The urgency is low and the value is low. So
Cindy says parcel.
Parcel. All
Larry
right.
says truck.
Let's do parcel.
Okay,
right.
go with Larry's truck. Oh, new item.
New item.
One diesel engine.
One engine going across country.
Cross country.
Volume, urgency, high dollar.
Truck.
Truck.
Kylie says truck.
Okay.
David says lots of rail, lots of air.
Okay. Let's
freight.
do air. All right.
All
that
right.
was correct.
Awesome.
We're gonna send
Andy, Sandra, Pat, nice job.
And so what we're, again, trying to help these people understand is that there are lots of different things that go into what you're going to select based on, urgency for that engine was high, so it had to get there fast, right?
Speaking of urgency, that 150 tons of rail is grain's about to expire.
Okay, here we go.
Okay.
100 pounds of concrete.
Oh, 100 pounds of concrete.
No, it's going from Detroit to Buffalo.
Detroit
to Buffalo. And you can see, okay, so somebody says ocean, yep.
Awesome job, Keith. What's that?
One business document.
One business document. Submarine, Andy says. There's no submarine option.
Urgency, high.
Air freight.
Air freight. Ooh, interesting. Okay. So down on the bottom, you can see how many items are remaining, the number you got correct, the number you got incorrect. And it's again, getting them to see lots of different situations, right? Oftentimes we'll tell somebody, here are these main categories, but we want to see how this might play out in real life. And so if we put the cows on the ocean, we'll obviously rail would be for that. Now, I'm just going to fast forward this, and we're not going to go through all of these.
But while you do that, I think we need to host a whole webinar on humor, because our participants are hilarious. We have everything from carrier pigeon, carrier condor. There was another really fun one on here. So I think we should host one on the use of humor in learning solutions.
Very good, yes.
There is a legit question, though. What's the feedback mechanism that explains why the document wouldn't be transported via air freight? Excellent segue.
Yep. So once you're done with it, we are going to give you the chance to review all the different elements that you needed to ship, and if you got it right or wrong, you can still select these to get to see why this was important. The ones that you didn't get right, again, you can select, and we're going to give you another chance to see if you can identify how this might go based on, based on what you've learned from the other elements. So again, in learning, we want to recap, we want to help them understand that they know how to make these decisions and give them additional information to right the wrongs that they got and not just move on and have them guess again. So again, this is that recap after they've gone through the game to really help them understand some of the finer details of what they've been doing and playing within that experience.
And this is kind of a more complex version of a simpler one we had done for, is it Pepsi, right, Scott? For Pepsi.
For Bloomberg.
Oh, Bloomberg.
Yep. Let's see. Yeah, so here's another example of that categorization type of game with some different content. Again, this won't have all the very fine details because we really don't need that, but you've got different environments that you might need to recycle in, your office, your international office, at home, at travel. When you select one of these, you're going to then, again, decide where you're going to drop this. So, this is kind of contextual in a way because this is what you need to do. A lot of places have these different recycling bins, and so different components, you can say drop the item in here, and again, you're going to see some points come up. You're going to see if you get it right or wrong. I'm going to drop this one in the trash, and I get
you
points
lost a
taken
lot of
away.
points on that.
You can see what's coming up next, and you can see where these elements might. So again, categorization, it just helps to help people understand where to recycle, and they thought that this was really something important, so they created this cute little game. It actually had leaderboards, so when you logged into the system, there was leaderboards that showed how well you participated against other colleagues within your office, and here again, this thing kind of slows down as you go back and forth a few times, so it's a little easier to play if you need that help. So similar to our other one, but a little simpler in nature, still fun and interesting.
And we have 5 demos left to show in only 20 minutes, so.
All right.
That garbage one is fun. That would be great to have at farmers markets, right? Because I'm always confused when you go to drop off the pieces.
This one was created in Storyline, and again, the gaming element is fun in nature. It feels like we're actually doing something with the content that you need to do as a Pepsi container designer. And what we'll be doing is getting different items. This has to do with recycling, design for recycling. You get a particular bottle. One of the things that you need to understand before you start the game is that you're going to be trying to please 3 different people. You're going to be trying to please the marketing person in the organization, the recycling czar in the organization, and also the customer, or the management. So it plays into cost and recycling and customer relations, community relations. And so I'm going to say I want to change that bottle, and I move on. Here's a Pepsi can. You get some additional information about what it's made out of, what the label's printed. I'm going to keep that one, and that looks pretty good. I'm just going to go through and change. So the learner is looking, making decisions, and based on what they decide to keep and change, will then move across our conveyor belt. And we're going to ask them, so this starts out at a pretty simple level, thinking about different elements that can be changed. You can select these and see what the change might look like. So you're changing a label or the color of the bottle. You're putting some marketing things on this label. You're completely taking the label off and using it as a printed label. And all these things play into its recyclability, how easy it is to recycle. Once you make the change, we're going to take our handy-dandy little analyzer and bring it over the top, and we're going to move on to our next item that we have asked to change. So once they've done this, each item will go through that filter, and we're going to see feedback from each one of those stakeholders on how well we've applied these skills. And again, the goal of the game is to make sure that all of our stakeholders are happy with our design and everybody is in sync. So again, a fun little way to engage. It's active learning. It's got some of these fun gaming elements of movement and making decisions. So a simpler game, but nonetheless, it has some gaming elements to it.
Why don't we go to PIL? Some people are asking about the use of video. So video can be a great medium, especially used with games, if you can interrupt it and make it passive. So we're going to show you this example in a few different iterations. And so you want to make sure your sound's on for this one.
All right.
Let's see how well you can escape the blame game in a real-world situation. You're on the marketing team at Spark Inc., a fashion retail company that's struggling to meet its sales numbers, and people are going below the line. You can tackle this challenge from 3 different roles. Select the role you'd like to play at Spark.
All right, so we're giving the learners some different options based on their role.
You're a new member of the marketing team. You're on your way to the office to meet your new team for the first time. Charla, the team manager, has you on her calendar. Let's see if you can make the right choices to help the team escape the blame game. Ready?
No, do the right thing, Scott.
No, I'm going to leave it. So we're going to give the learners some different options to play with, and lots of times they want to see, you know, what's going to happen if I leave it, right?
Oh, that's horrible.
So here we're doing some fun things with the video, and this time we're going to straighten it and make sure nobody trips.
You got 5 points for that.
Yep. So some visual badging, you know, good work. You've done this properly.
Hi, good morning. It looks like you have a meeting with Charla. Charla, your guest is here. Hey, you again. Thanks for straightening the mat earlier. If you hadn't done that, someone might have tripped. I like people who take ownership. Oh, shall we? I'm thrilled you're joining our school team. In case you don't know, we missed our sales targets for the past 2 quarters, and this quarter is looking even worse. But I think you can help us turn this around. Ready to meet the team?
So with video, it's creating a sense of action.
Meet our new team member. I think a fresh perspective will really help us close the gap on those sales numbers we're behind on.
Yeah, welcome aboard. Maybe you can help us with the reality that our CEO wants us to sell products that our customers don't want to buy.
Yeah, we're struggling to meet our numbers, and senior leadership isn't really providing a lot of help. Starting to see what we're up against. Do you think you can help us move the needle here?
So in this game, what I love is it really establishes empathy. You're hearing a lot about empathy and learning right now. I mean, being in sales, that was very awkward watching that. You kind of felt, oh, this is painful. It's, you know, oof, this is realistic. This is struggling. So building empathy in is a good one. The other part of this one that we love is the first-person shooter or first-person's perspective. Clearly, this is shot from their perspective.
Yeah. All right.
Judith is asking if it's completely different video for each of the 3 roles.
It is, yes. So, again, you know.
It was one shot, one setup.
One setup.
1 day of shooting.
Different scripts for different managers, and they're meeting different people, and so it definitely is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you noticed, it's all one camera, so we didn't need to pay multiple cameras, but it was one setting of lighting.
One handheld, yeah.
One handheld, one lighting setup, you know, a little bit changing from outdoor to indoor. But the gamification elements, just involving them emotionally, the little bonus points, the badging, it goes on for them. They're asking if it's a storyline example. That's actually was the shells in HTML5, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could it be done in storyline? Possibly. We could ask our teams if that's possible.
I think it could potentially be done. Some of the transitions between video might not be quite as smooth because you're probably jumping from screen to screen, but I think it definitely could be done. All right.
Any questions you have for our, you can go to whatever, but any questions you have for our team too, you know, whether you want me to pass it on to our developers, our media artists, whatever you do, just keep the questions coming in the window and we can always get back to you on that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's go take care of small children.
All right. So a lot of our customers, again, are looking to come to us because they want their people to perform better, to make better decisions, to think about application. And so many of these things are contextually based games. This one is on supervising children within one of the Bright Horizons centers. You're going to get some background information about the classroom and the children, what they like to do as background, and then we're going to start to play the game. So as you do things properly, you're going to start to win points. So here we have this child moving to a different spot. Every time there's some things that you need to make decisions on, you click the exclamation point here, and it's going to ask you what you should do. You know, call out to Rachel, move to in the back of the teachers to a different position, see what Rachel's doing, move to a different position. And so when you make these correct selections, you're going to win tokens. We're also then going to ask you secondary questions about where you should move. So if you click on these areas, you're going to see what your vision point is. We can go back, and here you're only seeing 2 children. So I'm going to go here, and I'm going to select this one, and you continue to move and win points. And if we do something incorrect, oh, I got that one right. Here's somebody who needs to, we need to focus on Mia first, redirect the other children with a different activity. And again, it gives you a multitude of situations that they need to deal with as a teacher to understand multiple kids. Again, there's leveling. At some point, once you've done a great job with the 3 children, there might be additional children that get added to the mix. Here we have a couple things happening, so if you're not actually doing things, multiple things are happening that you need to deal with. Again, a simulation of running a classroom, but with these gaming elements. And again, you can see your timer is running down as well. So there's timing elements, there's points and tokens that you're winning to make sure. Down here, you can see the situations. You've dealt with 2 out of the 6 situations. So we're giving you some insight into how many other things you're going to be dealing with as you move through this simulation.
And hopefully you're seeing how important just creating that environment, creating the aesthetic. This uses ambient noise, is that what you call it?
Yep, ambient noise. Yep.
This uses the extra little noise that may be distractions, different things like that. So whatever you can do, especially in a contextual environment, to create as realistic a possible interaction is most helpful. A lot of questions coming in on the technical side too. If we don't get to you during this webinar, we'll follow up with you with our developers as well. And Scott, we have time for about 2 more.
All right. So this is a kind of a unique game. Journeys is a shoe store. They have retail stores all over. One of the problems they were having was that the people working in the store didn't understand the concept of putting shoes back in the proper order and making sure that when somebody went to look for it, that look for a size 7 in this type of shoe, that it was actually there. So they wanted a game to help them understand these concepts of how the shoes are kept in the back room.
We're getting comments though that the kids are playing in the Journey store.
Oh, the kids are playing in the Journey store.
You don't want the kids playing in the Journey store. Okay,
thank you very much. I appreciate that. So some pre-activities to the game are we're going to be asking them to look at this layout of these shoes and make some decisions around how you might reorder them. There's no timing involved. All you know is that you've got 3 out of 5 at this point correct. So the way this works is you select a shoe box and you might move it to another spot to make room. Like this one, I think we need to make room. We're going to put this in the middle here, and you're learning about these different ways that these will play out in shifting and moving boxes to a proper organization. So we allow them to think and take more time in learning and understanding how this would play out. And then we're going to give them this game where we've got this conveyor belt, and timing is going to be a big part of this. Okay, so as a box comes down, you have to look at the size, the number, and make some quick decisions. Okay, I want to move that there. That's good. 449433, size 9. Okay, and as you get better at this and start to make better choices, things will start to come faster. There will be different elements, like you'll need to move boxes around to get them to fit. If I'm not sure exactly what I'll do, it'll fall off the end and we'll have a missed opportunity. So let's see here.
So we could recreate the Lucy game where she's
kind of
eating
recreating
the chocolate?
the Lucy game.
That'd be fun to build.
Oh, darn it. I missed that one. Okay, so again, a fun gaming element, contextually relevant to that person doing their job better. Speed is of the essence, and actually the mechanics of your job is being taught within this gaming world. So
there's another thing that we could build into this. We often use the corrective feedback paradigm. Either one of these sounds good. The corrective feedback paradigm, whereas if he's missing that size 9 that's falling off the gate now, we'll tee that up as the fourth option coming up. We'll tee it up that he missed it, because the learners in their mind's eye can often remember the next 3 in line, but the fourth one is a little more difficult for us as humans to process. So we'll tee that up and bring it back in. So often we're going to use the corrective feedback paradigm you may hear about. Bailey's asking if anybody uses gamification for IT workflow. That would help her tremendously, so please go to the chat window and help her out with that. Particularly for medical record functionality. Oh, good one.
all right. So we have time for one more, do you think?
Yep.
Okay. This one again is for this one's for Hilton, and it was helping their customer service people understand different customer needs and matching it to different brands that they offer. Now, some of the elements of gaming are not like hitting you in the face right out of the gate, but there's leveling, there's some fun and interesting feedback mechanisms. One of your goals is you're going to be able to see online reviews on how well you handled these different customers, and your goal is to get all 5 stars, right? So a game has to have a goal, and that is that mechanism for you to properly apply to your skill sets and see if you can win the game. One of the fun things about this is when we were talking to the subject matter experts, they're saying nobody calls the hotel anymore and asks for the manager and complains. They go to the internet and they get their reviews. So we thought, yeah, let's make that part of the actual experience. So we're going to select this gentleman here, and you get some information about he needs to take his kids to Disneyland, and his flights are expensive, and he needs a cheap hotel with a lot of amenities. Now, you only get to ask 3 questions, so there's some risk in this by just going and asking all these questions that, one, you're going to take up too much time and ask questions that you already should know answers to, or they're irrelevant. So we want that to be part of the gaming experience as well. So, you know, what are the ages of your children? That might be interesting to know what kind of amenities they might be interested in. What's important to you as far as price? And he says, you know, I just already told you, you know, weren't you listening? I need something cheap.
Awkward.
Awkward. And after you've clicked 3 items, then you have to go and make a decision between some different properties. Now, where the leveling comes in is that we've narrowed it down to 2 different properties for this initial person. But as you get better at it, we're going to start to add, you know, half the properties, and then you have all the properties that you have to choose from. So it starts to get harder and harder. There's more risk for you to pay attention and apply. If I select the Embassy Suites, that person goes away, I get another one, so we're replenishing our customer service examples, and then I can go over here and I can take a look at online reviews. I only got 2 stars in this one, and he says, I was frustrated, I was told I'd save money, blah, 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 and you didn't get a very good review. So again, not on the face of it does it look gaming, but it has many of the gaming elements that make it fun and interesting and active for those learners, and it's not just the boring presentation of information.
And for those of you that were commenting that you can't even use the word game in your corporation because it's still seen as taboo as opposed to, you know, simulation or scenario-based learning or immersive learning, that's a good one to show and share. It still has gamification elements, but it'll pass all the other corporate standards. Yep. So one more quick one that's kind of fun to do.
next 5 minutes, you'll be calling all the shots to bring a resume from sad to fab using our patented Find It, Flaunt It technology. Making these changes will help your resume stand out in any industry.
So this was done for AARP, and again, it's helping people in transitional stages of life redo a resume to bring it more to the top. Here you can pick a couple of different options. You can do an IT job or you can do a healthcare job, and it's going to change the content of the resume.
Let's find it.
So in this example here, again, what we're going to be doing is looking for, reading the job description of what job you're applying for. We're going to take a look at your resume, and we're going to give you some options to see if, I think that's fine, or maybe I need to change it. And there are distractors within here. So the learner is scrolling down and reading these different elements and making decisions. There are 5 changes that you need to find. So again, that's the goal of this game. So here they're saying ability to establish priorities and meet deadlines.
Okay, let's fix it.
And if you decide that you want to change that, you get some options of how you change it. But there's also this option on the bottom that, you know what, after I look at it, I don't think I need to change it. I think it's fine. So we always give them an out if they change their mind once they've read through these. So, I could change the language, and we found one of those changes and we moved through. So again, we've got this kind of gaming environment, this game show environment that we're allowing that learner to place this activity within, and giving them a challenge to find these different elements to change within their resume to make sure that they've properly applied the job description components to the resume. So just a quick little micro game, if you will.
Yeah, perfect. So we're going to wrap up here. Thank you so much, everyone, for taking the time today. Just as a quick recap, we hope you enjoyed the webinar. We really want to make sure we're providing value and helping out, so we welcome your feedback. Hopefully today you learned in gamification how important the environment is. Scott's skipping my slides. How important the environment is, how it's great to build, the risk factor in, put the learner at risk to the appropriate amount, not to get them frustrated, to continue leveling up the leveling, keep it interesting, always make sure you have something to surprise and delight your clients along the way. And at the end of the day, it's really all about the performance outcomes, right? Whether you're using gamification, gameplay, whatever terms you might be using, there's a little lag right now on the piece, but it's really about performance outcomes in the end. So again, we hope this was valuable to you. We welcome your feedback. Scott and I are incredibly passionate about what we do every day in and out with our clients, right, Scott?
That's exactly right.
And so we really enjoy showing and sharing. The learning never stops. Reach out, check out our website. We'd love to work with you if that's an option as well. And we look forward to our next webinar. That'll be on blended learning, and we will get a 508 accessibility one on the docket as well. Rich, thank you so much for hosting us. And Scott, any final words?
Nope. I hope you enjoyed it. Seen a lot of different examples of how gaming can manifest itself, and we've got lots more. If you're interested, give Lisa a call and we can chat with you. So thank you so much for taking this hour with us today.
All right. Have a great day. Have a great week.